Hi everyone, thanks for being here. We're about to start. We start the WOW room, so you're gonna see it restart.
There's a university where the people who will change the world tomorrow are being trained today. A place for those who wish to build their road to success and write their own future. An institution that empowers people who want to positively impact society. A university with all the resources you need to make your ideas and projects a reality. Where the commitment to technological immersion in education creates leaders capable of confronting the challenges of digital transformation. Where the international outlook prepares you to develop your potential to the fullest and to stand out in an increasingly global environment. Welcome to a university driven by innovation. Welcome to IE University.
Welcome to our third edition of our Legal Tech Venture Day, and today it's all about legal tech. We are live from my university, WOW Room in sunny Madrid. Joining me today, we have disruptors from all over the world. We are connecting from Dubai, from Sydney and California, and many cities in between. Everyone will be participating today. We have disruptors from all the corners of the world, and before we welcome them all, let me welcome Soledad Atienza, Dean of IE Law School, who will be introducing the event.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning to all of you. It is an honor, it is a pleasure to host today at the War Room at IE Law School the third edition of this amazing competition for startups in the legal tech sector. Our partners that have followed with us through this, in this journey, in this 3-year journey, are the Law Schools Global League, who are represented today by Martin Hogg, one of the co-presidents of the Law Schools Global League, and also one of the new partners that we have this year, and I would like to extend a special welcome to, is LexisNexis, who is the sponsor of the competition for this year. I would like to briefly introduce the topic of today. As you know, our law school is a global, diverse, and multidisciplinary law school, and we very much stand in the intersection of law and technology. Well, we have been reading, debating, hearing, and talking about legal tech for a while now, but I have to say, and I'm sure most of you will agree with me, that it is precisely in this last year where the whole of society has gone through through uncertainty, through a challenging time, and through many difficulties, where we have really seen a transformation and the digitalization process become true in the legal sector. And I refer to the transformation in the private legal practice as well as in the public administration and in the administration of justice. So I believe that over the past few months and the difficulties, the uncertainty and the challenges that we have all gone through have also been, this has also had a positive impact, and thus has moved the legal sector into becoming a more technology and digitalized sector. With this, I would now like to give the floor to Martin Hogg, Dean of Edinburgh Law School and co-president of the Law Schools Global League. Martin, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Dean Atienza, for giving me the chance to say hello to everybody this afternoon. It's my great pleasure as the Dean of the Edinburgh Law School and one of the co-presidents of the Law Schools Global League to be involved again in this Legal Tech Venture Day. We've had great fun in the League being involved in this project in the past few years. As Dean Atienza has just said, there's probably nothing more important right now in the legal world than looking at the ways in which legal tech can enhance the business of lawyers, can help clients to engage with their interests. And therefore it's very important for the Law Schools Global League, which is so interested in this area, to be partnering in this project. And I'd like to thank the IE Law School and its dean for the wonderful work they do in organizing these Venture Tech Days. It's always a great pleasure and honor to be working with Soledad and her colleagues, because IE Law always ensures that this event is one of the most exciting in the legal calendar for us all. So good luck to all the competitors this afternoon. Thank you to my fellow judges who are involved today. I'm really looking forward to hearing the pitches and seeing what wonderful ideas you have to present to us. So let's get going with the afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, for your support and for participating in the event today. I have to say that over these past 3 years, we've seen fantastic proposals from startups in the legal tech sector, but I truly believe that this is the addition. This is the time when we really have reached extremely top competitive startups in our competition. And with this, I'll now give the floor to Sébastien Bardot, Director for LexisNexis in Continental Europe, Middle East and Africa. Sébastien, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. I'll try to keep it short. I would just like to say that I'm absolutely thrilled to be participating today to the Legal Tech Venture Day. It's the 3rd edition, but it's the very first one for LexisNexis. I hope, I'm actually sure that it's going to be a long love story together. And I would like to thank right away the IE Law School team, especially Dean Soledad Atienza and René Cortés for the great collaborations that we already have in the past few weeks and months in preparation to this event. I'd like to thank as well the Law Schools Global League and extend that to Martin. It's great to be working together today for that absolutely great event. I think we all have in common, I would say, a passion and a strong belief that the rule of law is the cornerstone of our democracies, and we've seen that once again in the very specific past year and events that we've been through. But I guess since the Hammurabi Code more than 700 years ago, we know that regulation and the rule of law is absolutely necessary to any society to be prosperous. And at LexisNexis, since I'm representing LexisNexis today, we want to advance the rule of law with this combination of human expertise and with technology. And I believe this is exactly what we will contribute to do together today with this lovely and amazing event. And I can't wait as well to hear and see the pitches from the startups that will be probably disrupting technology, but supporting the rule of law in everything they do.
Thank you very much for your words, Sebastian and Martin. We're very excited to kick off the event. And to start, it's my pleasure to introduce to FT Top 10 legal technologists whose mission is to make contracts more human. Joining us from London, we have Richard Mabey, CEO and co-founder of Juro, a legal tech scale-up and contract automation platform. Richard was previously a corporate lawyer. In 2019, FT Intelligent Business has named Richard as one of the top 10 legal technologists globally. Richard, formerly a Magic Circle lawyer, learned a range of lessons from his experience leaving the world of law firms and co-founding his own business. Today, he will share the lessons that has helped him throughout this journey from law firm to legal tech. Welcome, Richard. The floor is yours.
Well, a huge thank you for that extremely warm welcome. I'm delighted to be speaking with you all virtually. I've decided to speak to you from my offices in London. Sometimes I've done these speeches from home, but with two small children, it rarely works out, and usually the event is disrupted before we get started. I'd like to extend my thanks to IE Law School for having me, also to LexisNexis and the Law School's Global League for having me to speak with you. When I was getting Juro started, which was around 5 years ago, the kind of events I attended about legal technology usually had about 3 attendees. We would typically share a box of pizza if we could afford it, and certainly there would be nothing like the level of technology that has been involved in creating an event as well polished as this one. I nevertheless found those early meetups really instrumental in challenging my thinking, in enabling me to meet the people who've helped me along the way. And so I wish you a very productive time over the coming hours. I think this is a really important event and I hope you get value from it. It's a particular honor for me to be speaking alongside some other esteemed speakers. Particular shout out to Martin Hogg, who I got to know a little bit at Edinburgh University in a different context, but it's always wonderful when paths cross down the line unexpectedly. That undergraduate degree that I did at Edinburgh University seems like yesterday, but it was actually about 12 years ago now. And so my task over the next 20 minutes is to tell you a little bit about that 12-year journey. And I want to do that with your permission in the context of 3 very specific lessons that I've learned. Usually, if you ask entrepreneurs to tell you about their company, they will do so willingly, and it's very difficult to get them to shut up. My goal is to try and give you some value here and some lessons that you can apply to your own thinking in startups. So I know some of you will be pitching your businesses today. Here's a very quick pitch on me. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Juro. We're an all-in-one contract automation platform. What does that mean? It means that we have an online tool that helps you to agree and manage contracts in one unified workspace. We now work with many of the leading scale-ups in the world. So companies like Deliveroo, Wolt, Kazoo, Trustpilot, Babylon Health, and we've raised now 8 million in funding from venture capital funds. So we're a little way kind of down the journey. But what I want to do today is to cast an eye back all the way to the beginning of my career, to 2009. And I want to start with the first lesson I've learned. And I've called this, find what you love and don't let people get in your way. I'll repeat that, find what you love, don't let people get in your way. So after graduating from Edinburgh University, I was in that bucket of undergraduate who really did not know what they wanted to do with their life. There were some people who were on these vocational paths, and you get a bit of FOMO as your classmates decide that they're going to go into medicine or law or business or whatever it may be. And I just didn't really know. And so I decided that I would go and do a graduate diploma in law. It seemed like a sensible thing to do. And I did that from 2009 to 2011. Now, at that time, I assume it's still the case now, it was possible to be sponsored through that law school by a law firm. So if you had a training contract or an articleship, you could get sponsored. But the 2009 undergraduate that I was not particularly organized. So I had actually missed all of the deadlines to go and apply to those firms. And so what I decided to do is I wrote 100 handwritten letters to the major law firms in the United Kingdom. And I said to them, has anyone dropped out? Because I really think I can be good at this. I haven't done all of the things. I haven't checked the boxes, but can we speak? And the success rate was pretty low, as you might imagine. So 98 of those firms either replied to reject me outright or didn't reply. But I still reckon I had a kind of 1 or 2% probability of success. So with those 2 firms that wrote back to me, one was Freshfields, and they allowed me to interview off cycle. I'm not sure if they allow people to do it now, but it happened. And somehow I got through that and I got a job at a law firm. Sometimes you just get lucky, and sometimes you can just help increase the odds a little bit by taking aggressive steps like handwriting to every firm in the country. And often you look at people's CVs, and I think for you guys at law school, kind of factoring what you're going to do for the rest of your careers, you sometimes see these CVs and it all kind of just looks a little bit easy. You see kind of, they went to law school, they went to this law firm, they had this idea, they did this startup, it was all kind of easy. And of course, this is rarely the case, right? And so for me, the journey has been long and winding. I went through law school, and then I spent 3.5 happy years at Freshfields. And Freshfields gave me an amazing training. I was able to learn from lots of super smart people. But fairly early on, I knew in my heart of hearts that being a solicitor was neither something I wanted to do, nor something I was actually particularly good at. And I really didn't love it. Some of my colleagues did, but it really wasn't for me. So in October 2013, I made the bold decision to hand in my notice to Freshfields about 1.5 years PQE, so 3.5 years in. This act horrified and continues to horrify my mother to this day. So with every 1 million in venture capital funding I raise, that only decreases her anger by about 1%. Because at the time, she tried desperately to persuade me to do the right thing and be the lawyer, like my sister as a doctor, and be the respected professional that she had tried to raise. And I'm still today not convinced she fully supports that decision. But what I really learned was, if you want to do really well in life, there is only one magic bullet, and anyone who has kind of got anywhere will tell you, is a ridiculously large amount of very painful work. And so something has to motivate you to go and do those 70-hour weeks. Some people are motivated by money, that's fine. It wasn't for me. It wasn't enough to be paid well and to be in a secure job, to go and work all of the hours God gives in order to make that work. I needed really something else. And so the decision I made was, I have a hypothesis that I cannot be successful unless I'm doing what I enjoy, not really because it's going to lead to an easy life. In fact, now I would say my hours have got progressively worse from an already bad start with Freshfields, but because it gives you a drive to achieve, you have to have something that drives you. And of course, along the way, everyone will have naysayers. There's a very human aspect to entrepreneurship, which is it's emotionally very hard. So in that case, that was my mother. She's still chief naysayer for my career. But it might be a teacher, it might be a professor, it might be your friends. You might feel peer pressure not to do something. But I think it really starts from being very introspective and asking yourself, what do you want to do and what is going to make you happy? And if you do that, and you'll probably do a good job. And if you do a good job, you're probably going to be successful. So lesson number 1, find what you love. Don't let people get in your way. Lesson number 2 is something that I think we lawyers find very hard, which is challenge the status quo. I'll repeat that. Challenge the status quo. After Freshfields, when I left, I decided to take an MBA. Again, this was a good chance to postpone my life decisions yet further into tertiary education. And I did that at INSEAD in Paris. So it was a year-long course. An incredibly interesting year. I met people from all over the world. I learned lots of interesting things. But the main thing I learned were there were people all around me who thought about the world in a very different way to how my colleagues had thought about it at the law firm. And that diversity of thought tended to be about systems thinking. So thinking not just about the work you do. So in my case, commercial contracting, we give advice on clauses, we mark up contracts, but actually what's the process of doing this? So I learned about lots of things, agile methodologies, which we hear all about in startups now, but actually really came from companies like Toyota who were innovating on process. I learned all about how you can use statistics and mathematics to increase the velocity of the work you do, and kind of things which had never really crossed my mind, if I was to be totally honest. And I thought back to how lawyers were working, and this was back in 2013, which was an extremely manual way. I'll give you a specific example. So one of the jobs I had to do was to negotiate 50 non-disclosure agreements in 5 days. 50 NDAs, 5 days. And these are very simple agreements. And so the question was, well, why does this feel like so much work? And the reason it was so much work is not because the law was particularly hard, but because the process of doing that was very clunky. So I needed to open a Word version on my desktop. I needed to mark it up. I needed to save the next version on my desktop. I needed to email a version. I called the versions V1, V2, V-final, and of course, V-final, final, final. And all of that process really slows you down from doing the high-value work that as a lawyer and as legal professionals, we should all be doing. So this is an appalling way of working. And I didn't really realize it at the time. And I think there's probably been huge process improvements in legal services since I was practicing. But in the context of most other professions, this is kind of not okay, right? Especially when clients are billed for that work. And increasingly, the market was saying, look, we want to have a more streamlined way of operating. I reckon 90% of the work that I was doing as a very junior lawyer was actually process, so managing transactions. And armed with the knowledge that the process could be done probably 10 times better, that was the first moment where I really thought maybe with a company, I could go and solve that problem. I realized that if I found it painful, then probably some other people found it painful. And if I could find 10 people who found it painful, there were probably 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000 people too. And what I realized, now these days is there are lots of startups that are founded as solutions in search of problems. I'm going to fixate on this a little bit because I think it's really important. Solutions in terms of problems looks like saying, blockchain and AI is on the rise. Let me find a way in which I can use these technologies to build a startup. The approach I took, and I think it is the best approach, is what do you know to be broken in the status quo? How can you provide a better solution for it? And there you go. You've got a startup there that at least one person will use. And if you're going to use it, your colleagues will use it, and you can commercialize this to make a really, really big business. Now, why do I think starting with the problem and then moving to solution is important? Well, loads of things. The first is you can empathize with your customer. So when you're going and selling your first few deals to customers, and I remember going into our early customers like Deliveroo, going into their offices with a 2-person company and saying, hey, can we process all your contracts? It's a big ask. So you've got to start from really deeply understanding what are the friction points that these customers are experiencing. The second is you can probably build an okay solution without huge resource. Why? Because you know what the problem is. And in design, if you know what the problem is, you can build a solution. If you don't know what the problem is, then you can build lots of stuff, and it's not really going to add any value. So starting with that foundation of knowing what the problem is critical. For you guys, as innovators in legal services, my message is go and think about what have been the worst processes that you've worked on in your time. It might be in the public sector. So it might be that you went to court and you found the experience of going there to be a total pain. It might be something to do with legal education. It might be something to do with working at a law firm. It doesn't really matter. But if you don't start with that core problem and take the status quo and challenge it, then you're already off on the wrong foot. So this is lesson number 2, challenge the status quo. Lesson number 3, and I think this is something that took me a long time to learn, and I hope I can teach it to you in 5 minutes as opposed to 5 years, which is how long it took me, is avoid what I like to call analysis paralysis. So as people at IE Law School, you've all got one thing in common, which is that you're very clever. And being very clever is generally considered a very good thing in life. The danger of being very good at analysis is sometimes, as lawyers, we can be slow in making decisions. When I eventually founded Juro in 2016, and it took me some time to pick up the courage to do it, it seemed like it was going to be a relatively simple task. So I definitely underestimated what needed to be done. The problem to solve, fairly simple. So people agree contracts across multiple tools. This is a little bit painful. It causes some problems like data loss that impacts the growth of businesses. I was agreeing a contract in a manual way, so I knew this to be the case. And I knew that if I could automate those processes, I would have a great solution. So it kind of sounded simple. But I remember at the time distinctly the sheer number of decisions you need to get right to overcome the odds of startups which are always kind of stacked against you. So I remember when we raised our Series A, I remember our investor Union Square Ventures told me that they typically see between 10 and 20,000 pitches per year for 12 investments. So the starting odds are not good, right? And you've got to decrease those odds as much as you can. And I needed to decide things like what kind of customers we would have, what kind of product would we need to build for them, how would we price our product, all of these kind of commercial things which I'd never really done before. And the problem with these questions is you can almost never really answer them in theory. So as lawyers, we're very good at structured theoretical thinking, reason, logic. And one of the things I really need to learn about startups is they're part art, but they're also part science. So I wanted to think about what is the science of actually making these decisions better. And ultimately, it's about having a hypothesis, running experiments, and then assessing your conclusion as quickly as possible. I now spend a lot of time advising lawyers who are leaving the legal profession and going into startups. And the number one thing I find is they're very, very cautious. So, and I was cautious myself, certainly back a few years ago, and they say stuff like, well, I'm going to try 3 startups. And maybe one of them will work out, and my downside risk will be protected by having this portfolio. Or they'll say, I've been thinking for 2 years about doing this, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to do it. And I always give the same advice, which is, you've just got to start with something. As lawyers, we tend not to want to take too many risks, and rightly so, because no one really says, you should work with this great lawyer, they take lots of risks. Right, this is not really what it means to be a great lawyer, but it actually is imperative in order to be a great entrepreneur. And there comes a point at which in startups, you need to be moving really fast, making decisions with 80% confidence. That feels really scary as a lawyer. It really feels uncomfortable. And at Juro, we've seen tons of failure. So we've seen things like, our first product was so embarrassingly bad, but we built it in like 3 weeks. And we could have spent that 3 weeks just thinking about building it, but we built it and we gave it to some people and they told us it was bad. And we said why, and they told us. And then we built another version in the next 3 weeks and it was better. And this is what I mean by moving really fast and iterating. And the emotional failure gets harder as well. So venture capitalists saying no, nearly running out of cash, having to rebuild the product, losing key customers. These are things that really can grate as an entrepreneur. But ultimately, 5 years into Juro, I tend not to think so much about those failures because ultimately what really matters is the outcome. And the journey may be messy, and it's always going to be messy, but the outcome can be really cool. So I'm now really super proud of what we've managed to do at Juro. So we have a team of 41 Juros, as we call them. We have a world-leading product. We've processed now more than 200,000 legal contracts, and we have more than 4,000 customers using the product in over 85 countries. The journey to get to that point was hard. It is not an easy journey, and no entrepreneur will tell you that it ever is. So you've got to be prepared for pain and sweat and tears, and in some cases, blood. But the upside is that you have a shot at something amazing, which is that you can actually change the world, even if it's in a small way. You can make the experience of going to court better. You can make the experience of agreeing a contract better. And you can help the world to work just a little bit better. And all of that, ultimately, has made for me the pain, the suffering, and the heartache absolutely worthwhile. So I want to leave you with these 3 lessons. Find what you love. Don't let others, like my mother, get in the way of what you want to do with your careers. Have the confidence to go and do it. Challenge the status quo. Find problems that you know to be true. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you have found a real problem, you're already halfway to being a great entrepreneur. And the final thing is just get on with it. Avoid analysis paralysis. You're bright, that's already a given. Your task now is to start a company that can become really big and can change the way that legal professionals work globally. And I think that's a really exciting path that you guys have ahead of you in whatever roles you go on to choose. I hope you found this a little bit helpful. Please write to me as I wrote to those law firms back in 2009. You can spam me on LinkedIn. I will try my best to respond. I want to help wherever I can, and I want to repay the people who helped me back when I was in your shoes. So please do connect, and I look forward to hearing about all of your progress. Have a very successful day today. Thank you.
Well, Richard, this was a fantastic and very inspiring speech for all the startups that will now start to pitch. Thank you very much for being part of this Legal Tech Venture Day, for inspiring the future disruptors, whether they are startups or they are listening and hearing us via streaming. So coming to the exciting part of the event, I will tell you how this is going to work. We will have 5 startups. They will be evaluated by the jury, and the criteria used to evaluate them are innovation, scalability, team, viability, and the ability to have a positive impact in the legal sector. The winner of today's competition will be mentored by the VP of Strategy of LexisNexis and M&As during 6 months, and will meet a selection of clients to pitch their startup and solutions so they can, just jump to the next level of their startups. The winner will also be one of the 100 finalists of South Summit, the leading innovation platform which connects startups and businesses and corporations and investors worldwide. So before we begin, I want to introduce our amazing jury we have today. Let me introduce to Carol Escobar, co-founder at BackFund. Also, here with us is Gloria Sanchez, Head of Legal for Technology and Legal Transformation of Banco Santander. Hi, Gloria. Sebastian Bardot, Director of Strategy for Continental Europe, Middle East, and Africa of LexisNexis. And Somi Trombley, Senior Consultant, Up-Level Ops. And finally, Daniel Lewis, VP and GM of Practical Guidance and Analytical at LexisNexis and co-founder of Ravel. Very pleased to have you with us today, to all the jury members. So now it's the time to introduce the first startup we will be pitching today. And the first one is from Dubai, Feras El Had, founder and CEO of App4Legal. He will present his startup, a one-stop vertical SaaS platform and legal tech marketplace for legal teams, a complete practice management software for all legal practitioners. Feras, the floor is yours. Please go along and show us what you got.
I'm sharing my screen. Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Perfect.
Fantastic. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. And I'm really happy to be here today presenting App4Legal. So my name is Feras. I'm the founder and CEO of App4Legal. I'm based in Dubai. I used to travel a lot before the COVID, and the positive things today that I'm seeing a lot, my family and my daughter. So App4Legal is a platform. Okay, so App4Legal is a software platform for legal professionals. It helps lawyers to collaborate and manage the daily work cases, matters, contracts, etc. It's addressed for the entire market, for both law firms and in-house legal teams in any company of any size. It's available on cloud, private SaaS, and server. App4Legal is my second company. I spent a lot of time in my professional experience leading large enterprise teams in the ERP space, CRM, mainly in Paris, Dublin, Singapore, and the Middle East. And I had the chance to work with in San Francisco and Amsterdam with a company called Atlassian, where I sat on the advisory board in 2017 and 18, scaling the ecosystem worldwide. So I'm second-time founder. My first company is Infosista, a mature company in the digital transformation, targeting tier 1 accounts, and today present in 5 countries. In December 2019, I decided to spin off myself to be 100% dedicated on App4Legal after the success we had mainly in the enterprise sector. Currently, we're in a special place in our journey. We succeeded to have 3x hypergrowth year on year since the COVID, on track for 1 million ARR, and with client base in 50 plus countries on the enterprise side, including banks, telcos, governmental groups, and many law firms. We have happy clients, especially on the enterprise, where we're focusing currently, with a churn that is less than 2%, and we have very nice pipeline ahead as of today. Our pricing model is very simple and transparent. Our prices are published on the website for all editions, and it's by user per month subscription paid annually, plus the access from our marketplace to a lot of modules and add-ons that complete the story. App4Legal is the central workspace for every legal professional when it comes to case and matter management, contract lifecycle management, workflow and document automation, task management and collaboration with all the agile methodologies, billing, time and expenses, and the CRM client orientation with client collaborations, with many modules in our marketplace, like intellectual property modules and the entity management, legal docs, and hearings. End users of App4Legal can access the platform from their desktop, from the laptop, and from the mobile devices. The user interface is designed to be intuitive and comprehensive with all the tools needed for the legal practitioner on a daily basis. Users become sticky users to the platform and navigating from a module to another, with switching the language, the preferred language, where App4Legal is supporting today 6 main languages and adding many other languages before end of 2021. We're currently disrupting the legal space in Middle East and Africa and currently expanding to Europe and Southeast Asia with plans to go global for a market that is worth 40 billion US annually, but it needs innovation. App4Legal is uniquely positioned for this opportunity for both the enterprise space and the non-enterprise space, because it's modular, scalable, easy to use, multi-language, supporting multi-currencies, and infrastructure agnostic, available on cloud, private SaaS, and server, and addresses the entire market, private and in-house. We're endorsed by prestigious figures in both legal and legal tech, having an ultimate advisory board working with me. They are all of them, they are investors, they engaged, in fact, with App4Legal, and they are also active advisors in our space, coming from both private sector and in-house. We're collaborating since early this year with LexisNexis Middle East, and we're on track to build a partnership and to expand this to other regions, hopefully. We're recognized by Gartner, Capterra, GitHub, Software Advice, we're GDPR compliant, and many other recognitions published on our website. I am backed up by a brilliant team of 40, having the ultimate mix of knowledge between legal and technology. We succeeded to do 3x growth in 2020 in teams, expanding the team to Africa, London, and Singapore. We closed in October 2020 a bridge that enabled us to have the key hires in place and to anchor App4Legal as a leader in the enterprise sales for the legal tech in Middle East and Africa. And currently, we're raising a close round that will enable us to accelerate our growth, going global and making App4Legal the ultimate ecosystem and the backbone of legal practice for the entire market. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to speaking more in details about App4Legal.
Thank you very much, Faraz. This was really exciting to look about and hear and learn more about your startup. I would like to open the floor now to the jury. Any questions from the jury, please go ahead. Karel, I think I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Thanks. Quick questions. You mentioned that you already closed around a few months ago, and you're planning to go to another one a few months from now. What are your plans in terms of customers and which type of customers and which other markets are you thinking about to expand? Because you talk about your presence and your high presence on Middle East. Are you considering whether Europe or North America or Latin American countries? I mean, which kind of customers are the best for you right now?
Yes. Currently we're focusing on the enterprise customers, where also App4Legal is addressed for the entire market. So we have currently clients in 50 plus countries, including the non-enterprise and the enterprise. From sales strategy perspective, and coming from our capacity of developing our business, we're focusing until end of 2022 on the enterprise. So I'm talking about in-house legal teams of banks, telcos, governmental sectors, groups in any industry, and mainly the medium to large law firms. Okay. Now it doesn't mean that we don't have small law firms and solo lawyers. We have them. They are coming to our website fully inbound, fully organic, trialing the system, buying the system without any human intervention. The beauty of it that we are taking this practice at scale, and with the Series A that we are raising with the global things, we will be able to inject more fund on the marketing and address the entire market, the non-enterprise and the enterprise. That doesn't make sense?
Thanks, Faraz. Going to the next question, Gloria Sanchez, I see you have your hand up.
Thank you, Renee. I'm going to ask you, you have exposed that your tool covers many different areas which are useful both for law firms and for in-house lawyers. We tend to see tools that are vertical, that cover these different questions, but not so many.
We can hear you. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Please
Sorry.
repeat the question.
I got silenced. I got silent by somebody else. I don't know. It must be a problem. I just said whether you connect your tool with others, like with native APIs with that you can connect with other tools, or whether you have built all these capabilities in your own tool.
Karel, Faraz, I'm sorry. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I went automatically mute also.
Yeah,
I think
don't worry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly.
Can you?
Perfect. Yes, very important question on the part of, okay, so let me put it this way. App4Legal vision is to have a backbone for the legal practice, for every legal practitioner, connecting legal practitioners together. It means we're connecting with all the technologies on the upstream, and on all the tools used by lawyers on the upstream. Let me give you an example. On our contract lifecycle management, we're integrating through APIs with DocuSign, HelloSign, Adobe Sign, etc. On the document management side, we're integrating with Dropbox, SharePoint, OneDrive, etc. So the aim is really to have the legal practitioner working on a comprehensive platform, having all the tools needed in one single subscription and not having many tools for the whole practice.
Okay, thank you, Faraz. Now going to our last question, very quick. Sumi, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. You mentioned that you have a fair bit of stickiness with your clients. I'm curious to know how you've dealt with adoption from the law firms. As Gloria mentioned, there is often a vertical that's either centered on law firms or in-house legal. So I am curious how you bring the law firms along.
I would start by the positive side of the story of the COVID, and by the the legal tech space that is becoming hot space in the last years. So two factors here. First of all, we were lucky to be the right solution on the right time. Okay, where everyone were looking for not only classic tracking solution or drafting solution, they were looking for collaboration solutions, productivity, decrease, remove the silos between the departments working together or between the in-house working with other departments. And COVID accelerated this for us because App4Legal is built bottom up on the concept of collaboration and agile task management. Okay, having all the suite of things. Now, how law firms, to come to your question, are becoming sticky? Because we are putting all the tools needed for them in one single place. So they come in the morning, they will upload their email management tool, and they need to open also App4Legal as a workspace. And this is where law firms and lawyers in the law firms are becoming sticky to the software. So all their workspaces, all their tools in accessible and integrated out of the box.
Thank you, Feras. Now, moving along to our second startup, we will continue with welcoming Alexander Abolmasov, CEO of DocuTable from UK. DocuTable reduces costs, increases speed in documents workflow with AI. Sounds very interesting. Please, Alexander, take it from here.
Yes, hello. Yeah, I'm asking permission requests. Okay. Screen. Yeah, here we go. My name is Alexander Abolmasov. I'm CEO and co-founder of DocuTable, and we're making documents workflow smarter using artificial intelligence. So let's start with a case study. Our client, big bank, as a result of new regulations, there was increase of documents we need to process, and the compliance process is quite complicated. Now people just do it manually, print out all those scans and check the documents with a pen. And it's like 100 types of different documents. And we help them to do it automatically. And as a result of was a reduction of $500,000 only for 100 of big clients, and 5 times less costs and 20 times increase in speed of with document processing. Globally, companies spent about $800 billion for document processing. So what we do? So we receive this flow of incoming documents. First step is processing. We sort those documents, extract information so it becomes structured. And when we do with post-processing, like compares those documents with each other, different types, creates packages of documents, set of documents, and create a table which is coming from this set of documents, do with business rule checks, create actually incoming documents. We create version control on the fly, and you can construct new documents. So some more examples. For example, insurance company, they do contract control. So there's a lot of documents incoming, different formats, scans, Words and PDFs, and we compare them. And not only just text, but we can compare with contract with term sheet and see the difference. And the same stuff with like financial companies, helping them to process, for example, mortgage applications and some other stuff. So we're already working with big banks and insurance companies, and mostly focus on finance, retail, and insurance. So about the competitive market, we are in intersection of intellectual document processing and RPA. There are like 5 basic steps: optical character recognition, extraction, then analyzing this information, workflow, and integration with other systems. There are several ways to handle this problem historically. First way to do it like with templates, but if you have unstructured documents, templates fail to do that, and artificial intelligence like beats templates. The second wave was to do it like using crowdsourcing, so many people would do it manually, but like somewhere else. But for banks and insurance companies, they most times are not eager to provide their data to outside, or use like RPA to add some manual rules. But we complement RPA, and we add brains which help RPAs to become smarter and process more and more documents. So we believe we are third wave, and we focus on a full cycle of document processing, and it's low code because using like formulas, we can easy as an Excel, you can do a lot of stuff. And one of our competitive advantages, what non-technical user like lawyer can create in 5 minutes new document type and train the model on a few documents. So you just show the robot how you extract information, how you classify the information, and it learns from you. No templates, low code, but very powerful because it has all those structured information, structuring processing. We're already quite experienced. We are a US company and remote-only team located in US, UK, and Russia and Armenia. We just recently graduated from 500 startups and been through other global accelerators, have substantial experience in artificial intelligence and finance, legal, and software. We are already profitable, growing B2B SaaS model, and actually right now creating a model which, for example, will be like premium model. The first product will help if you receive a contract, it will just automatically fill the gap, for example, the company name, those bank accounts details, etc., which like I personally don't like to do. So let's do a demo, and you will see how it works on your document and how it can be used in your processes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting. Now let's hear the questions from the jury. Any questions? Yes, Daniel, please go ahead.
Thanks, Alexander. Can you tell us more about what you're hearing from customers about their expectations around your accuracy?
About accuracy, so we created a process which actually, when you start and the robot doesn't know nothing about your document type, we already see like progress increase 2 times because it's like faster to use our interface to copy with data. So, and after that, actually I have a, let me show the slide. Okay, last time. So we have, you need only from 100 to 500 documents to reach the on most field accuracy about 96-98%, and this makes most of customers happy. There are some difficult cases, but actually if you put it in real workflows, because new types of documents, something happens, it's very easy to fix a problem. Robot shows when it's not very sure about the outcome, but people can change it immediately, like operational people, lawyers, or somebody else. And overnight, the robot will improve the models, and next day he will be much smarter. So it makes people very comfortable when we do those changes.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. Carol, I think you're up. Next question.
Yeah, my question is, how much time or effort does it take for the model to understand the documents for each company? And the second one is, how many languages your software supports?
So now we have clients using about 3 or 5 languages, but actually adding languages is not a problem. So it's like we already have language agnostic models. For customers, it takes like from 5-10 documents on simple times. So and it's already start working and show like suggestions and helps. And then if we reach about 100-200 documents, it's already show very good quality. And after 500,000 documents, it's like the best. So people anyway already extracting this information, and when they start to do the same using our interface, they feel what we're like investing in their own reduction of waste and mundane work.
Okay, thank you very much, Alexander. We're moving along to the next startup. Our next startup is from Canada and goes beyond the legal sphere. It's called AddictTech. AddictTech is a global platform for transacting real estate. Ignacio Suarez, Head of Operations, will present. Join me in welcoming Ignacio. Go ahead, Ignacio. Take it from here. We can't hear you, Ignacio.
Can you hear me?
No, ahora sí. That's good.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for inviting AddictTech to participate at this event. I am Ignacio. I am a COO of AddictTech, okay? And I will be presenting everything you need to know about us and our product, Simple Deals. At AddictTech, we are building the future of cloud transactions. We design and create collaborative solutions that we try to simplify, automate, and scale a complex process and make it more simple. Our vision is to become the global cloud workspace where lawyers, brokers, and investors collaborate on institutional deals. What is Simple Deals? Well, Simple Deals is a collaborative project management platform that multiplies your transactional capacity while delivering a better client experience. How does it do it? Well, we help to organize the deal flow of our clients. We put all the tools that our clients and their clients need in only one place and seamlessly integrated. We provide a better user experience by making relationship with the clients more sticky. Once a client is using Simple Deals with their clients, they tend to request it again. We also save time and increase deal capacity by removing and automating manual tasks in the transaction management process. Let's talk about some metrics. We have already been used successfully in different transactions, and these have shown a great potential. We have seen that the clients have saved up to 40% of the time while closing a deal, thanks to automatizing up to 30% of their manual tasks. By this, we have proven that our clients can double their capacity of deal closing. And our platform, yes, it is built for scalability. Every new deal on the platform can bring us an average of 2 new transactions in 3 months after the deal is completed. And this means that the cost of customer acquisition decreases after every transaction, while our lifetime value increases as the digital ecosystem grows. We have proved here to see the different effects that this platform and the collaborative solution has in the market. By the end of 2025, we aim to have more than 1,000 active deals on the platform. This will result in more than $6 million in revenue generated. The team is divided into the management side and the development part. In the management, we have Miguel and Pablo as co-founders of the company, me as a head of operations, and Serge Beato as a CTO. In the development side, we have a team of top developers committed with the mission of creating this global platform for transacting. We started with real estate, and now we are aiming to expand in other kind of sectors, as we are now having our first pilots with legal firms. The opportunity, our total addressable market in North America alone, is more than $100 million in annual revenue for our initial configuration. But our target for 4 years is to capture 5.5% of this market and to reach this value of $6 million in revenue. So far, so good. We have raised $750,000 in US dollars and through different convertible debt agreements. Our key milestone for 2021 is to get to $600,000 of revenue and to close other 5 institutional pilots. As you can see here, as you can see here in the screen, you can see the different clients that we are partnering right now. Our other key milestone is to experience with top-tier clients and partners and to expand our usage. So far, we are used in Canada, UK, Germany, and Spain. Right now, we are raising another seed round plus of $500,000 with a pre-money valuation of $7 million. The funds will be used, half of the funds will be used in product development, a quarter in growth and expansion, and the rest in SG&A. Thank you very much. And if you have any doubt or you want to see the product, feel free to go on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ignacio. This is amazing. Please, let's open the floor for the jury. Please, any questions? Here we go. Wow. So Sebastian, please go along.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got from your presentation that you are mostly focusing right now on real estate transactions. What about other types of transactions? I'm thinking about M&A.
Exactly. So we started working with real estate transactions because we were selected as part of the Colliers Accelerator program powered by Techstars in Canada, and that put us in the position of focusing in real estate. Nowadays that we are, due to the COVID situation, the team is spread around the world. Right now I'm working from Spain. And I have good relationship with different, I am also a lawyer, so I have good relationship with different law firms, and we show them this, the potential of the platform. We are not only thinking about M&A deals, we are thinking about any kind of project that a law firm has to do. If the project involves a lot of documentation, if the project involves different people involved in the closing of the deal, then our platform is perfect for that. We have different functionalities. I'm sure you can imagine them. We have Task Manager, we have a CRM functionality. We have also the CRM and the virtual data room. Okay, so that allows us to offer all of the functionalities that these customers need in order to close any kind of deal.
Okay, thank you. Next question goes to Daniel. Daniel, please go ahead.
Thanks. Could you share a bit more about a specific use case and talk maybe about who some of your competitors or how people are currently doing those tasks?
Sure. So right now, when the users that we have seen so far in the platform, okay, we are talking about, for example, real estate consultants. Okay, so let's say GLL or Colliers. When they want to offer and commercialize an asset in the market, they have to put up all of the information into a platform. Okay, what it's right now a VDR. They would be right now our main competitors. Okay, and then they would invite the potential investors into the platform. What we try to do is to offer into this VDR everything else that they need. Okay, so this is the CRM functionality where they can see all of the people that they are contacting, everyone that is involved in the team. We have also implemented the digital signature, so they can sign the NDAs or the non-binding offers. They can also sign it through the platform, and they can also work with the client. Okay, our platform is not only a place where a team works, but it's a place where a team shares with their clients. So this is something that we have seen that the clients of our clients are very happy to work in these kind of platforms because they see all the work that the lawyers, their real estate consultants, or their advisors are doing day to day.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now, moving along to our first startup. Can you imagine creating, signing, and storing contracts securely all in one place? Well, our next startup is about that. InHover, based in Germany, Elena Mechik, CEO of InHover, will be pitching today, and will explain us what's going on with this startup that promises contract securement. Please, Elena, go ahead.
Hello, thank you. I will share my screen.
We can hear you very well, Elena. I think
Okay,
you have
great.
your...
You cannot hear me?
We can hear you very low. I think you have to maybe increase the volume.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can. Perfect.
Okay, great. Thanks. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So imagine a world built on trust and transparency. My name is Elena Mecic, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Inhaba. Our journey began in 2008 when I spent 5 months living in the tropical forest of Brazil and supporting a forest community in the conservation of the forest against illegal logging. What started as an adventurous university project ended in me opening an NGO and also writing my PhD on that topic. And by the end of my PhD, I realized that the blockchain technology is actually a way of reaching a sustainable and transparent supply chain for timber. So that's how Inhaba was created, with the vision of building business relationship built on trust and transparency. How can we have such a huge vision? Because we are dealing with contracts, and contracts are the base of every business relationship there is. So we provide transparency with help of artificial intelligence. So we take the contracts as they are and analyze them on the most basic information, most important information, making it easy to understand what the contract is actually about. And we connect contracts with the reality, providing trust into business relationships. And the problem we are dealing here with is, in general, the inefficient contract management. Due to very long contracts, it is difficult to find the information you are looking for. So it takes a lot of time to create the contract, to negotiate the contract, to read the contract, to sign the contract, which results in a loss of around 10% of the total annual income. So at Inhaba, we create a product which provides this understanding of the contracts they are. So our artificial intelligence takes the contracts as they are, the long contracts, and extracts the most relevant information out of the contracts so that the users, our customers, know exactly what is actually written within the contract, what are maybe the hidden parts of the contract. And on the lower level, we connect contracts with the reality so that our users also know exactly whether what is happening in reality is aligned with what is actually written within the contract. So what makes us unique? So first of all, we are kind of Google for contracts, so that you can actually ask a question to the contract and receive an answer. The blockchain technology provides us the security level so that the contracts stay secure against others. They are encrypted at every point, which is kind of a GDPR-conformed Dropbox. We have an electronic signature for all file formats, so it's possible to sign, let's say, an Excel sheet, a video, a picture, without having to transform it to PDF first. And at the end, smart contracts, connecting contracts with the reality. The entry market is the real estate and the procurement industry. And for our customers, it is as if they would be having 1,000 lawyers at their side 24/7. We started selling our product in 2020 and already reached some large customers, among them Goldbeck, which is a large construction company in Germany, building the Tesla factory, for example. And let's step back and look at the market size in general. So we are dealing with the contract lifecycle management market, which has spent around $10 billion, like in general, how much the enterprise they have spent on a software solution, which leads us to a serviceable, obtainable market of $105 million per year alone in Germany. We have an excellent team of co-founders and employees with an experience of over 60 years in product development. We are family and friends business. coming from industry and research. So Fraunhofer Institute is kind of MIT of Germany. Holger is a part of our team and helping us in business development. He has been managing director of Booking.com and made Booking.com a success in Germany. We are supported by the European Union and the Ministry of Economics in Germany. And we are here to ask you and to welcome you to join us on our path towards a world built on trust and transparency. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elena. This is a very passionate project you have there. Now let's open the floor to the jury. Yes, Sebastian Magdo, please go ahead.
Thank you. Actually, I have two questions. I don't know if that's receivable. My first question would be, since you're doing like smart contracts with extraction of like provisions and duties, to what extent are you integrating in existing business systems like the ERP of the company to make sure that those smart contracts become a reality and not something that's remain in a closed box that would be a platform isolated from the rest of the business system. And my other question was, who are actually your end user? Are you like targeting mostly lawyers, so tackling like legal uncertainty and legal risk, or are you targeting more like operational people, contract managers?
Now let's open the floor to the jury.
Okay. Yes, thanks for your question. So the first question regarding the integrations, yes, that's exactly the goal, like the integration of different systems and connecting them to the contracts. Yes, so we are starting like with little steps going in that direction, starting with connecting bank accounts to contracts or connecting, let's say, mobility, IoT devices to contracts, etc. But it's exactly the way to go. And the second question, I'm sorry. What was the second question?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I was a bit long. Now, my second question was, who are actually
yes, I'm very sorry. So right now, yes, yes. So it is actually the operational team. So we are selling right now to chief procurement officers, for example, the ones who are actually dealing with a lot of contracts, who need to know what the contract is about, when is it about to end. So our contracts are informing the users right on time, double check the contract, or they know exactly when the contract has been signed, etc. So they have this whole transparency of contractual relationships in a way. So we are not actually addressing the legal, the lawyers right now.
Thank you.
So moving along to the next question, Sumi, please go ahead.
Thanks. So who is the person or people who are identifying what's important in the contract when you're summarizing them? Is it the client, or do you have a set of terms and conditions that you're pulling for in general?
So we started with very basic information like start date, end date of a contract, contract description, like short overview of what the contract is about. But we are working very closely with our customers. So we actually sit down and ask them, what is the most important information for you? And try to figure out this most relevant information, which is interesting for a large number of customers in a way. So that's the way we are going right now.
We're going to have time for a final question that Gloria Sanchez has her hand up. And Gloria, go ahead.
Thanks. So who is the person or people who are identifying what's important in the contract when you're summarizing them? Is it the client?
I'm sorry, Gloria. I don't know if you can repeat the question. Well, I think there are errors here, technical errors. Let's move along to the fifth and final startup from the United States. We have the pleasure of having Jim Chang, founder and CEO of My Little Einstein, which is an AI-powered legal contract collaboration that reduces contract execution time by 80% and supports contracts in different languages: English, French, German, Italian, and Spanish. Jim, please take it over.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
All right, let me share my screen. And I think you should actually be able to see my screen at this point, right?
Yes, yes. You can see
Okay,
it.
so thank you very much for having me. My name is Jim Chang. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called My Legal Einstein. It's an AI-powered legal contract collaboration. And I know that's actually a mouthful, but I'm going to show you what problem we're actually trying to address. So just to kind of give you some perspective, here's a little bit about me. I am from the AI side. I'm actually very comfortable with algorithms. I've actually worked on algorithms for things like real-time video delivery and big data and assets like that. And then most recently, probably in the past 5 years, I actually worked with heading up the AI engineering for two large CLM companies, Icertis as well as Aptus. And both companies are actually two well-known unicorns in the legal tech space. So that's got a little bit about me. One thing to actually note, I actually not from the legal side of things, but actually there are a number of attorneys that's actually on my advisory boards and such. So kind of a couple of things about My Legal Einstein, and these are the things that people actually know about what we're actually doing. First of all, we actually have a partnership with the American Bar Association. This is actually the Bar Association for the US. Specifically, it's actually related to the AI piece for explaining to attorneys how to adopt AI for the legal contract review process. So there's a lot of education about what is the strategic advantage of actually using artificial intelligence. The second thing is that within the past 2 months, we actually introduced a GDPR compliant solution that also supports multiple languages. So as you can imagine, the multilingual environment for the EU is perfect for this, where both the compute as well as the data stack actually resides completely in the EU. And we support the multiple languages, English, French, German, Italian, Spanish contracts. So you can actually use this technology across multiple languages, which is actually a huge, huge aspect to this as well. And then the third thing is that we actually just recently got accepted to be part of the Legal Tech Springboard. And we're actually partnering with PwC as well as Microsoft. And just completely coincidentally, that's actually one of the reasons why I'm actually local this week in Madrid, because we're actually partnering with them to actually introduce new legal tech solutions specifically for the Spanish market. So let me talk very briefly about the problem we're actually addressing, which is basically the legal contract collaboration process. And I think that there's actually a number of presentations that actually talk about, how, and Richard actually had a talk about how large of a project this is globally, okay? But the space that we're actually looking at and the problem we're actually addressing is what actually happens when you actually receive a legal contract for review. And the things that we're talking about in terms of the business issues that people actually want to address, things like reducing contract risk, improving contract compliance, and all of these types of things, like, for example, leveraging best practices across the board. You also have to take in context of being able to address it with consistency, efficiency, and time management across the board at very, very large scale. And these are the things that we're actually addressing from the standpoint of what the problem we're actually addressing. So here's actually what we do differently, okay? And it's really impossible to explain everything that we do just through text, but here's some kind of the main points. The first one is that we introducing a solution with an instantaneous time to value, okay? And we think that this is actually one of the key aspects to some of the issues in terms of adoption of legal tech. And our objective with introducing My Legal Einstein is to have a user who doesn't know anything about My Legal Einstein be able to wander onto our site, okay, register and log in, and process a contract and get to a time of value in less than 1 hour, okay, which is a huge statement simply because a lot of the AI solutions kind of require maybe a 1 year ramp up time, et cetera. We actually want to get to the aha moment very, very quickly. The other aspects is if you actually look at the kind of the document comparison capabilities, you'll see, and I'll show you some slides about how our interface and how our product actually looks very, very different from everything else. And it's really architected specifically to optimize for the review and comparison of legal text, okay? I'll show you some screens about that as well. And then the third piece that I actually want to highlight is the collaboration negotiation model. And this is actually a very new approach to doing this, and I'll show you why this matters. But at the end of the day, when we're actually talking about increasing the speed of how business can actually function, how quickly contracts can actually be executed, this actually reduces that specific time to maybe about 20% of the actual contract execution time. Okay, and then I talked a little bit about multi-language support. I mean, without a doubt, multi-language support is one of those things that when you look talking to large legal firms that are very much distributed in nature, it's a key aspect in terms of actually how to leverage knowledge bases across different types of geographies as well as different languages. Okay, and all of this is actually natively architected for the web, for the cloud environment. So we actually have massive scalability as well as concurrent user loads. Okay. So a little bit about AI, and I think that a lot of what kind of the mission behind myLegalEinstein is really to re-educate the space about what AI is. And I think that one of the aspects is that we want to alleviate concerns about basically saying AI is going to replace the attorney. Okay, and I've actually heard that, and it's actually kind of amplified from the media as well in terms of the fear factor associated with that. And the reality is that AI is just not even close to being sophisticated enough to actually replace the attorney, okay? And that's kind of how we think about it. And in the same way that we don't expect lawyers to tell us about how to work with algorithms.
Jim, I will have to rush you up a little bit as our time, our 5 minutes are up, so I'll give you 30 seconds to close. Thank you.
Sure, so let me just kind of go through a couple of the screens that we're talking about. This is actually a quick preview of what our product does. Okay, it actually allows you to deep dive on legal topics to figure out, did I miss something in my contract review? And then also things like being able to compare documents side by side when you're actually seeing maybe a review of your third-party contract versus your own contract versus your own playbooks, and all based on using a topical view. So you can actually see like languages across all of these different documents. And then the last thing is actually the multi-language support, where you actually could be able to do these type of things. But anyway, thank you very much. And I was just going to wrap it up. And let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much. This is very amazing. So let's open up to the jury. Any questions? Wow. Okay. So let's move along quick. Let's have quick questions and answers. Daniel, Lewis, please take it.
Thanks, Jim. Can you tell us more about some early customer experiences or user stories and feedback you may be getting?
Well, I can tell you that a lot of the subscribers we're actually getting are basically the kind of the in-house attorneys as well as kind of independent law firms. And part of the reason why we actually adopted a subscriber model is two aspects, right? Because first of all, there's a very long tail of these smaller groups of legal companies, right? That's actually one aspect. And then the second thing is that once they actually start adopting it, they kind of start realizing that there's interesting aspects to how the application can actually work to get them to the point of realizing value quickly. Okay, and when I talked about basically the ability for us to use the artificial intelligence to determine if they actually find anything that's missing, that's actually one of the things that is very compelling for them. They get to the point where they, oh, I reviewed this contract and I realized by using myLegalEinstein that they missed something. And that's the point where they actually get hooked.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Moving on to Sebastian. I know you have your hand up.
Yeah, I'll try to be very quick. Jim, just a quick question about the use cases that you see for the product. Would you say that that's more like for like unique contract review or like a batch legal document analysis?
I would say that, yeah, right. I say that right now we are focused on the third-party contract review process, right? So there's a number of products out there in the CLM space, Icertis, Apttus, many that are out there to actually originate and do document automation. But the bigger problem we see is basically the third-party contract review process, where you receive a contract, it's not your own paper, and you have to do an extensive comparison with your own document assets, own contract assets to figure out what you actually do to what are the appropriate red lines for that contract. And all kind of powered by the AI aspects, so you can actually isolate based on topics, be able to compare like language, use playbooks effectively, do side-by-side comparisons.
Thank you.
Much. Now we have heard the 5 startups and the 5 disruptors that are here, and while the jury deliberates, let me remind you of What the criteria is: innovation, scalability, team, investor, readiness, and market opportunity. So now our jury will deliberate, and while they do that, I want to welcome Alejandro Tauriño, Managing Partner at Ecija and Head of Information Technology. He's here with me right now. Hi, Alejandro. Happy to have you here.
Hi, Rona.
And Alejandro will be leading this panel of innovators. As part of innovators, we're going to have people from different parts of the world. And well, Alejandro, take it from here.
Thank you so much, Rene, for the invitation. Thank you to the IE for inviting me to be here, and also congratulations to these great startups that we have been listening to. The jury has a very hard job to realize and to discuss which one will be the best of the best. In the meanwhile, let's make some time for them to decide. But we would like to discuss with you and with some invite here about several topics with regard to legal tech from different angles. We got here to discuss with us, and very welcome to Dan. We got Alicia Andert, we got Elizabeth Lugones, and we got also Susanne Mortimer. I will of course introduce them properly, but I would like to put some background on the discussion that we will make over it. We will discuss about challenges, opportunities, the adoption of technologies within the legal tech industry. We will discuss about trends, the geographical differences that we check and feel on a daily basis between some different countries and places, about legal innovation, and not only about tech, which I love, but also about skills and knowledge. So again, welcome you all for this. Those connecting from home, feel free to send any question or comment through the chat. We will make some questions that you may ask from here. And again, let me introduce properly the guests that we got here. First of all, Alicia Andert from Germany. Alicia is co-founder of This is Legal Design and also chairwoman of the German Legal Tech Association. She has been fostering the digital transformation, the legal field, consulting law firms, legal departments, startups, basically on digital transformation and innovation processes. Before working and founding her own legal tech company, she worked for a law firm in Germany, Chevalier. So Alicia, very welcome, and well, let's discuss in a bit. Also, moving to the other side of the world, we got here Elizabeth Lugones. Elizabeth is senior consultant of App-Level Ops. She got more than 20 years of experience in legal operations, working basically in legal operations, global project management, business re-engineering, change management, team building, and previously to join the company, she was also senior director of legal operations at WeWork, at companies like WeWork, like United Legs, Becton Dickinson, or MetLife. And finally, last but not least, we got here back to Europe to Susanne Mortimer from Austria. She is a CIO for LexisNexis Austria. She has been involved in the publishing industry for more than 20 years now, accompanying digitalization and transformation projects within that industry. And well, she has launched very different initiatives, very innovative ones, and products within this ecosystem, such as Lexis Contract Master, Lexis 360 Austria, including Knowledge Graph and Decision Tools. So again, welcome you all to this short but very interesting debate. And let me start with very, let's say, broad questions, and feel free to, to answer at your convenience. Okay. So first of all, I would like to have your view on the state of the art. I mean, how mature you identify the legal tech industry is right now. Maybe Alicia may start with this.
Thanks for having me, first of all. Yeah, so where is the legal tech industry? Of course, I would be speaking for the German markets here. And we see a very different states, I would say. So some of the, especially our B2C legal service providers are still suffering from a lot of legal uncertainties. So this is something to go for. Whereas I feel like the legal tech tool providers are moving into a direction that I really like here, because there are so many tools out there, and you can now finally see that the people are not only thinking about the technology that they're using, and they try to sort of move away from these buzzwords like AI and blockchain. Of course, this is still being used, but what I can see, and I think this is a very positive development here, is that it's becoming more customer-centric. So the companies, legal tech companies, start thinking about what our customers need much more. They start thinking much more about UX design. They start thinking much more about customer success, so implementing tools into certain processes. And this is something that's a development that I've been watching for some time now, and I think that's something really positive.
Thank you. Susan, what's your view on that? Susan, we are not listening to you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Go ahead,
Sorry.
please.
Great. Well, I was just saying, I very much agree with what Alicia just said. I mean, what we see, looking at our target group, the lawyers, they like to move ahead step by step. No, when it comes to adopting new technologies, they usually start with something they are already familiar with. For example, they were already using our research database, and they happily switched to our new database that introduced all sorts of sophisticated search algorithms and visualization. Like you mentioned at the beginning, I'm talking about Lexis 360, our biggest research tool. They also really like our document analysis tool, but they had never scanned the Word document before. So it was harder to motivate them to try it. So what I think is that we as innovators are so enthusiastic about our products that we tend to forget that lawyers have a day-to-day business, and they simply don't have the time to try all the cool new tools. Very often, as a first step, lawyers will just look at the single one legal tech use case that will yield the most advantages. In Austria, for example, research tools and research technology have by far the biggest potential for lawyers, because they use them all the time. And they can not only save a lot of time, but can give you better ideas, better insights, better arguments, which is the core of a lawyer's business, no? So lawyers are trying new legal research technology before they are thinking about other legal tech applications. We expect that some technologies will only start to thrive when other technologies have already been adopted. But what I definitely think is that timing is an issue. As far as really novel ideas are concerned, there may be possibilities that you are too early to market with your radical new products. This is what we experience every day.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let me jump to the US and ask Elizabeth. I mean, we always say that the law industry and lawyers are quite, let's say, conservative. Why do you feel that law firms and legal departments at companies should embrace legal tech and use legal tech to be more competitive, or what are the reasons for doing so, if any?
Yeah, so it's a conservative group of people, but I am starting to see them come around, especially in the US. They have a recognition that technology could help them. They just don't understand the how. And honestly, the construct of how they're taught to practice law and learn law is very different to how law is being practiced today, right? And you have that tension, whether you're in a law firm or you're in-house in a company, where the client, the company is going digital, right? They want to be data-centric. They want workflow management. They want to be able to have visibility and transparency for speed of business. But it's kind of not like it's not how lawyers work, right? Lawyers are around managing risk and being a strong business partner to their clients or their internal clients, right? So they're trying to figure out how to marry that with the use of technology. They know they want it, they know they need it, they know the value, but they're really, I think, bombarded with the advent of so much technology over the 5 years, and they're constantly getting calls from all these vendors saying, I have the best new tool that's going to change your life, right? And it could be a little dizzying. So in our work with these folks, we try to marry, understand your problem statement. What is your process, right? A technology can help you. It's not going to solve all. So I think, right, when you marry that process with tech conversation, it facilitates it. So I think we're at the precipice of a huge change in the market, both for law firms and in-house counsel.
Okay, cool. I mean, I am an IT lawyer, and I shouldn't ask for that, but we are speaking about legal tech. But my question is only about tech, or there are any other components that we should also take into consideration at the time of innovating within the legal industry? I do not want a yes or not, but almost that. Okay, so the floor is open for you all. So it's only about tech, or there are any other aspects like team building, like legal design, like legal operations, or whatever? Go ahead, please.
I would say yes, it's not just about the tech. I think the tech comes last, no offense to all these wonderful creators, but really understanding what is driving the need for tech so that you could leverage it to the best of its capability is key for its success. So it is about creating connectivity. The world is huge, but we're super small, and we need to create that connectivity to be able to collaborate together. The access to information is super important. And how do we make everybody's life easier, right? How do we get that work joy? So technology can get you to that particular place, but it's really about everything first.
Okay, Alicia?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know what our answer is going to be, considering that Elizabeth is consulting in legal operations and I'm a founder of a legal design company. But other than that, I think in general, there is no value in technology for itself. It doesn't do anything for anyone. It's really about how to use it. And of course, the how to use it always needs a design aspect to it. So as Elizabeth said, you need to understand your problem, you need to understand needs, and the technology as a possible answer to that can only solve what you have already discovered as a problem. Other than that, I think we definitely need more disciplines to even being able to work like that, because bringing technology into your life as a lawyer needs certain skills that we, at least in Germany, definitely do not learn in law school. You can finish law school in Germany without ever touching a computer and without ever working with anyone else outside of the legal sphere. So this is something that I don't think is helpful in the digital transformation process, where we need to understand and learn to work in an interdisciplinary way.
I could say that not only in Germany. Susan, your view on that is only about tech?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't come from a publishing company. I mean, I'm coming from publishing, so obviously I would say it's not only tech, it's also content. So what we learned is that combining technology with content nearly always improves the product. No matter what we do, it's always a combination out of content and technology. Very often legal tech improves the speed of a lawyer's work and his process. However, from a client's perspective, a lawyer's answer doesn't only have to be delivered in time, the answer also has to be substantial. It has to be a solution to the client's problem. Legal industry is strongly driven by know-how, and a lot of stages in a lawyer's workflow can be supported with offering content, insights, information, literature. I mean, this is our tradition. So generally, I would say legal tech is at its best when it does not only help to get faster solutions, but also better solutions. And this is certainly the combination out of content and technology.
We are in the atmosphere of AI. Do you think that, let's say, next generation lawyers are ready to this big change that we are facing, that they got the skills that will be requested and needed by clients, by, let's say, employers in the next years? Also for you all. Alicia, go ahead, please.
Like I said before, I think there are definitely skills needed that are not being taught at the moment. So I think there are certain universities like this one that are definitely moving in the right direction or are like ahead of other universities. And I think that's a very good trend that I like to see. I see many private universities moving in that direction to also teach skills that are needed outside of the classic legal skills. I think right now we are not ready, but we are moving in the right direction, and people are starting to be more interested in other fields like legal tech, like legal design, like even certain ways of consulting, much more interested in that than they used to be before. I think I've only recently heard that more Harvard lawyers are now working for consultancy firms than for law firms. I mean, that's sad in some way, because I think it's good that or we need good people to be in the law firms out there, but it also shows that people are developing new interests and also following these interests. So I think it will all come together at some point if we keep supporting these interests.
New skills?
Is that a question to me?
No, to Elizabeth, sorry. We cannot hear you. You may be silent. Not really. Well, let's move to Susanne, and we will back to you in a minute, okay? So,
Yeah.
Susanne, pretty the same. New skills, are they ready for that?
I think skills is definitely a thing. I think the whole branch is not ready. We do see that in some law firms, especially in the bigger law firms, the skills are there, the need is there, and the openness is there. But definitely, and this is what happens in Austria at the moment, that all the law firms, all the law schools actually are starting to skill up the students, which is definitely necessary. I think lawyers tend to trust the most in themselves more than in technology in the first place. But once you actually show them, and once they understand what big opportunities there are if you give them technology, what help lies in there, how much efficiency they can, where they can actually concentrate on what they can do the best. I think then they start to rethink as well, and this is happening constantly, and I think we will be there in 2 or 3 years. It would be completely common.
Elizabeth, let's go back to you, but let me change the question. I am surrounded by gurus of this industry, so let me ask you a very difficult question on that. How do you expect, or which will be the trends in the legal tech industry for the next, let's say, 5 years?
I think workflow management and collaboration is extremely necessary. Starting to see that a lot here in the States with our clients is how do you have visibility into how we collaborate with each other, not only within the legal space, but with our business partners. How are you leveraging that data is going to be extremely, extremely critical. I think everybody is curious about AI. There are a lot of AI options out there, but not a real understanding of how it could add value or how it really works, right? Right now it seems super magical, let's just say, right? So I think if you could marry, how do you create that greater connectivity and speed of business and sharing of information and have it be trusted, coupled with AI, you're going to have a really powerful legal industry in the next 5 years.
I am taking notes, actually. So, Alicia, trends for the next years?
I think in legal services, there will be a growing trend in holistic legal service. So meaning that you will not, as a legal service provider, not only solve the legal matter, but actually solve the whole problem. There are already some trends in that that I see, for example, when it comes to data protection and digital ethics, that it's not about the legal issue, but it's also about how do I transport the legal compliance into my internal company processes. And this is something where there are now building up consultancies founded out of law firms to solve the whole issue. And this is what I mean with holistic approach. And I think that's going to be a trend for the next years.
Okay, thank you. Susanne, your predictions for the next years in legal tech?
Well, I think I have to come a little bit back to our core product, Lexis 360. I think there is still, it's a research tool, but I think there is still lots of opportunities there to actually develop that. We come up with yearly version upgrades, like companies like Apple or Microsoft, where we really try to add new features, additional content, new content formats, practical guidance, etc. So I think there is still quite a lot of opportunities there. But going further, I think in addition to that, we rely basically on new tools that go into the direction of practice matter management, document cloud, workflow, collaboration, contract analytics, content analytics, obviously. So wherever you can automate processes and support customers in allocating or optimizing their valuable resource, it makes sense to invest. This is at least our way. And also to enter into the daily workflow of the customer, basically accompany him all the way. I think this is the direction where legal tech is not only a nice thing to have, but where it becomes actually a must-have.
Let me say that I am quite happy with the answers, because I was spending like blockchain, AI, machine learning, deep learning, and well, you move to the other side and say, hey, which are the needs that clients will be facing in the next years? So, well, I actually agree with your conclusions. Let's keep an eye on the next years. Let me remember all those connected from home that you can launch any question through the chat. But in the meanwhile, let me ask you our final question while the jury is finalizing their decision. I mean, you all belong to companies which are providing services or distributing products in different territories. At least my European view is that normally there are like different rhythms and paces in the US and Europe or Latin America, which are the jurisdictions that I know a little bit more. But what's your view on that? Do you feel that the needs, the approaches, the evolution of the markets are very different depending on the specific geographic place? Is it very different in the US to Europe and to Latin America, for instance? Go back to Alicia again.
That's very hard to tell, honestly, because at least we are mostly consulting within Europe, but we also get quite a few requests from South America, which is interesting. So I can see that the most interest for legal design, so for a user-centered approach to innovation, is coming from the US, where it all started in Stanford, from South America, and from Germany and the Netherlands, I would say. So this is interesting for us to see, but I cannot really say whether the approaches are the same everywhere. What I can see is that the general issues of law firms and legal departments definitely seem to be the same. Whereas for alternative legal service providers like B2C platforms, it is very different because the regulations are very different. For example, in Germany, it's rather strict. So we have different complications than in the US, where the regulation is much nicer to alternative legal service providers, I would say.
Okay, cool. Elizabeth, let's move to the U.S. back, and what's your view on that? Is the U.S. leading the role in the legal tech industry? It is not the case. What's your view on that?
I think we came to legal ops and legal tech maybe first, but quickly on the heels is definitely Europe. I think the problems are the same and the challenges are the same regardless of where you are on the map. It's just wrapped in the construct and the norms of the regulations and the culture in that particular country. So having worked at a few multinational companies, and having legal teams scattered in APAC and in LATAM and in Europe, right? Everybody had the same issues, and we would adopt alternative legal service providers, or we'd adopt new technology. It was easier to apply in the US. There was desire and a need to apply it to another region, like in LATAM or APAC. But the challenge, to Alicia's point, is really what is the culture and the practice and the regulatory environment allowing for that adoption? So what I would say, it's not necessarily the industry, it's the change in the regulation, I would say, in the culture in a particular regions that need to change and catch up to the needs within this particular sector.
Go back to Europe, Suzanne. I mean, you belong to a company, a multinational company with presence in many countries. What's your view on this geographical difference in terms of legal tech?
Yeah, I'm afraid I again have to agree with what the two ladies said before already. I mean, obviously there is a major difference between Austria and the US, where case law is much stronger and all verdicts are actually published. That offers the opportunity to provide major pre-filtered information beforehand, helps to predict the outcome of trials, saves enormous amounts of time and research. So preconditions are different, that is correct. But at the end, what we all want is the same, to help our customers to find the right information quicker and the more efficient way, and help them not to oversee anything.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Suzanne. We got good news from the jury. They got already a decision on that. All fingers crossed. I got my prediction, but let's start and let's wait for the jury's decision. I give back the floor to Soledad and René, and thank you all for joining this Legal Tech Venture Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you all. It was a very, very inspiring panel where we could hear about, what's going on around the world in different regions. It was great to have you with us and being part of this community. Now, well, the part that we all been waiting for, the winner. So to congratulate the future winner, I give the floor to Soledad.
So I would like to start by thanking the members of the jury for participating in this very difficult activity today. Congratulations to all of those that have presented your startups, all of those that have presented to the competition, and in particular those that have achieved coming to the final. Again, the task for the jury, I know, was extremely difficult because of the very high level of the competitors that we have seen today. We are very proud at iLaw School, together with the Law Schools Global League, to having the opportunity of really promoting and bringing talent to the intersection of law and technology disciplines, so to legal tech. And with this, I would like to announce the winner of the 3rd edition of the Legal Tech Venture Days by iLaw School and the Law Schools Global League, together with LexisNexis in this edition, is AREX Tech by Ignacio Suarez. Congratulations, Ignacio. You have the floor for a few words. Congratulations.
You're in mute. Ignacio. No, we can't hear you yet. No. No, we can't hear you. Well, before Ignacio, now we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. It was my fault, my computer. First of all, thank you very much, everyone, well, all the participants and the jury for the decision. I'm very proud for this award. Me and RxTech in the whole. I'd like to say that I thought that all of the companies that pitched today in this event were very interesting and are doing a lot of stuff for this legal tech world and are helping to move the sector forward. But something that I also like to share with you is something that Susanne Martimore was sharing at the beginning also, that the relationship with the clients is very important, and that's what we are trying to focus our development of the product. We want the lawyers to be and interact with their clients in a smooth way, and always be, to make this relationship more transparent between a lawyer and their clients. And this is how we are trying to improve this sector.
Ignacio, we truly hope that this competition can push your startup in the legal tech sector even further. With this, I would now like to give the floor to Dean Hogg from University of Edinburgh for a few closing words. Martin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Soledad. Well, congratulations indeed to RxTech and to Ignacio for a fantastic win this afternoon. But really, I was blown away by all of the presenters today. There's such a huge amount of investment in this wonderful technology going on, a huge amount of inventiveness going on. I think, as we heard in the present and in the speakers just before the announcement, there is such an amazing amount going on in the legal tech world right now in terms of innovation. And I think it's something which we as educators in law schools need to be talking to our students a lot more about. I think many law students would be incredibly surprised and impressed by how much is going on in the legal tech world. And I think the world of professional practice that they will go into is going to be very, very different to the one that I went into when I was training to be a practicing lawyer back in the 1990s. I recall being shut in a room with a fellow trainee, and we had to read to each other, read out documents to compare them, to see whether or not the document from one law firm was the same as another one. We could be in a room for 6 or 7 hours doing this. And that world of 1995, which I was part of with no legal tech, is going to be entirely different to the world of practicing lawyers in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And that's all down to the incredible innovators who are doing so much to make the world of the practicing lawyer so much more pleasurable than it was back in the 1990s. Lawyers of the future will get to concentrate on the really exciting, interesting stuff and not have to do all the tedious things that I did when I was practicing to be an attorney back in the 1990s. So thank you so much to all of our legal innovators and disruptors, particularly to our winner today, but to all of the finalists for all that you're doing to bring tech and law together. It's a great pleasure for the Law Schools Global League to be part of this Venture Tech Day. I look forward to hearing many more innovative platforms in future years. So well done, a pleasure to have joined you this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Martin. I have to say that I also shared this experience with you of going through documents and face-to-face only documents, non-technology due diligences in the past. So now I'll give the floor to Sébastien Bardot. Also, thank you very much to LexisNexis for participating in this competition. And Sébastien, if you'd like to also give a few closing words.
Well, thank you. I just have to say that I was really amazed, also very blown away by all the presentations that we have today, the startup pitches and the panel and the, I would say the keynote as well was very inspiring. So thank you to all of you. I would like to congratulate all the startups. There's only one winning, but it's not like, I mean, the world will be only for a single successful startup. So you will still have a lot of room to grow. You have all demonstrated passion passion for the law, passion for technology. And so I'm very confident about the future of those companies as successful ventures. I have to say that technology will enable better decision-making processes. It will enable better legal strategies and probably enable also more time for legal professionals, freed from prestigious tasks, maybe to have a drink now that the COVID is sailing away, and we'll use that technology to have a better life, hopefully.
Thank you very much, Sebastian and Martin. And I would like, before we end, thank you to all the startups, to all the judges that were here celebrating this event that, kind of like showcases disruption and technology and celebrates the innovators around the world. So thank you all very much for joining us and for being part of the community. To all the 5 startups, congratulations to all of you, because you're now part of an ecosystem, and we are going to hear from you much more again. And to wrap up, we hope to see you all soon in Madrid for our next Legal Tech Venture Days, which will be happening, and hope to have you here in Madrid in our next campus, which is how we're going to close this event with a bit of expectation for what's coming here at IE and everything related to entrepreneurship and innovation. Thank you very much all for joining us today.
IE University is about entrepreneurship and innovation, humanities, diversity, technology, and all our facilities bring together these ingredients. A few years ago, we felt the need of creating a new campus from scratch. And we came out with a very cool design that actually fits perfectly our values, our mission, and our purpose. Our vision is that top university shouldn't just train leaders for existing organizations, but people who are capable to create their own. And that's why we have an amazing space dedicated to creativity and entrepreneurship. And when you bring together a group of 4 or 5 people from different countries, backgrounds, and cultures, and you challenge them to address a problem, they will come up with different solutions from completely different angles. And that's the best atmosphere possible, to make the magic happen, to make entrepreneurship and innovation take place.